12, the resolution for votes cast for the board of directors members for the appraisal district.
We lost 6 people.
Do we know how many school get?
Well, we were trying to find the file, we can't find the file, so I don't know.
Well, we got
And I tried to ask them, they really wouldn't. So, there you go. It takes, we have 1,376 votes. And there are 5 people that will be chosen, so. Last year, we split ours up, but.
Stanton should get all the tea, right, Will?
Should.
Craig should get Fairfields.
I talked to him yesterday.
I think so, probably. So we did Fryer and Sanders last time, because Lovey and T, the school, or the other way around, and Brown.
But now after,
There are 6 people here, and I think that they fill 5, is that right? Or is that right?
5 nominees to receive the most votes, it says.
5 received the most, correct.
Mr. Brown, he filled, Randy Utley's.
Brown?
No, we give it to one guy, or 2
Yeah.
guys.
It's Richard.
Always on there. Which is gonna make a difference, but.
Y'all know him? Y'all know him?
Who?
Mr. Richard? Yeah. Where's he from?
He's here Fairfield.
Huh?
That's
Was that the fire chief?
yeah, fire chief.
Fire chief?
Yeah, coming in for, Larry Tice, or,
Barry Donovan,
yeah.
big sheeper.
He may crack down that place.
Yeah.
You're good.
Dan, do you know if that Richard chauffeur was on there last year, or is he a new?
He's new.
He's new.
He's fire chief here, Barry Donovan.
Mhm.
Did he get appointed or did he get elected last time or what, you know?
I think he's just been appointed for consideration for the vote. I don't know the person.
Who took Brownie's play?
Stanton did, didn't he?
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Yes.
Okay.
St. Brown.
Doug Brown's daddy.
So, y'all educate me on this. So the schools all gonna get so many votes. Each taxing entity gets so many votes.
The
Hospital
city, the
district,
school, the
hospital,
county. I don't know about the hospital.
I would think they would be represented as well.
Their votes are according to levy. The more levy you
Oh, I
have,
assume so,
yeah.
but I just,
So
I
they
figured,
get a few votes.
yeah, they get a few.
They don't have enough to guarantee one person to get on the board.
Okay.
What a guarantee, you know?
8 something. I don't know if that's on your paperwork or not, but I know the county has enough to guarantee one person and about half of another person.
And we had that, it's in that file that she's looking for, because we had that number.
Last year.
Yeah.
We did.
What's the show what your total votes are?
1,276.
1276.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking it's in the 8s somewhere, I think they guarantee something.
Last year, all of New ISD's votes went to Craig.
Okay.
You did?
Hmm?
You,
Well, Chris was wanting Stanton, so I assume the school's gonna go. Is that right?
They voted, for
They
Lovey
they
White.
give Lovey some last
They
year.
gave Lovey enough to get on, they could guarantee her a spot, and the rest went to Stanton Brown.
Okay. This year?
Yes, at their last meeting.
Well, that's good to know.
Do you remember how many votes?
Say it again now, say it, Dan.
I don't know what their total vote amount was.
Uh,
What did you just say?
They guaranteed Lovey and put the rest on Stanton.
Okay.
Last year we put $835 on SIDS.
That must have been the
I
last number.
guaranteed
The
it was.
number that we said would guarantee us. And then we put, $235 on Jerry Ellen Sanders and $146 on Craig.
I think we need to put some on Stanton, if they just, if the school did that. Cause he worked for the comptroller, how many years, pretty sharp on all that.
Yeah, we had nominated somebody else to be on there, and somebody from the tax office, or up the appraisal office, said that he had a lot of experience, brought a lot of knowledge to that because of some of the audits that had been done, different things. And so the person that we nominated just said, look, if y'all got a better person, that's fine with me, I don't have to, you just do it just to be on there, so, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, cause like I say, he went around, he was the check, he went around to appraisal districts all over Texas.
Right.
That's what he did for the comptroller, oversight.
Did they say how many would be, that you would need to be sure that a person gets on the board? Did they give a number? Okay.
I bet it's that
Dan,
835.
This was us last year, but see,
And
it's
while
a
you were
little
gone.
different this year because we have 1,216, and this year we have 1,276. So,
It must went up, it may go up, when did it go down? When you go down?
wouldn't hurt.
Well, if we give a third to each, we give a third of them to Mr. Brown, a third to Sid Fryer, and a third to Jerry Don Sanders, and then let the other people decide who they want.
I don't have that number.
The appraisal district, I don't understand.
Appraisal district, I thought it did.
I got down the number.
I wouldn't say so.
Who do we got on? How many votes we got?
Close to the same.
1,276.
It's 5510. The last four is 5510.
You want me to call?
Yeah.
How many votes can the county put on to guarantee a person?
830.
834. Okay.
834.
5,000 votes to be cast. Go ahead.
So you know,
834. Okay, thank you.
I asked him how many Fairfield, and
I'm sorry.
I was curious how many votes Fairfield and Teague had.
Adam. We're gonna check.
Do you know how many y'all got, Lonnie?
I don't remember.
Do you know if y'all nominated anybody yet?
I think we went off of what was nominated, because we didn't have anybody that we could nominate.
well, I think Fairfield has the most, which is about 1,500. And then, oh, I got something.
So they nearly put two on.
And then Tig has about 1,200. We have, I'd estimated 1,300, ours is
So
1,200.
Tig's 1,200, So
We give C at
And that's just
834.
just an estimate based on the values and everything.
So if,
We give C at 834, we can split 442 twice to 221. Give those to, I'd like for us to have at least one
we're
land over cowboy on it. Not saying crazy not, but
well, I bet Jerry Don got some from the school up here too.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I bet Jerry Don got some from the school too.
probably.
Just
Jerry
wondering.
Don gonna have.
When, do you know
He'll
when
have some
Fairfield
for
votes,
everybody,
Dan?
huh?
Do you
Sir?
know when Fairfield votes?
No, I don't.
My thinking is if we want, they won't really want to stand on, then we might need to give, you know what I mean, put more up there.
Okay.
Because he's probably not gonna get any more out of Teague. Teague's the only place he's gonna get it from.
And how many did he get from T, you know?
Whatever was left after the
They
guarantee,
gave
so
him
probably 400 or
834
something. Huh?
442.
If they give the 834, that's lovely.
Yeah, then probably 400. So,
You're gonna need another 400 somewhere.
Give him the 442.
yeah, that's about all we can do. What would be wrong with that?
Well, turn y'all on. What do you think, Rio?
Waiting on text.
Are you waiting on a check?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to find out how many votes Dew had, and they're all going to Craig again. If they had leftovers, we could request for them to put them on Stanton, or Jerry Don, whoever needs them,
Yeah, he probably gets.
Fairfield.
Let me see if I can figure out how many stamps we got.
I would figure Craig and Richard would probably be getting Fairfields. Wonder if Jerry Don got any from Fairfield last year.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you know he did, you know he did.
We could go on with the rest of the agenda and then come back to that one.
Let's do, because I'm waiting on
Yes.
answer. They did 300, they did 300 and something stamps.
All right. Number 13, we'll go to number 13.
No,
No. Okay.
no, we go to 13. I just
Well,
said no.
the statute provides that the order must be adopted before the 15th, and it would be to prohibit. So we don't want to prohibit, so we're not.
No.
Well, one of them, it reads the other way. You have to adopt to allow it, and so
We didn't have to.
but that's not this one. This one is the order prohibiting, and so there's no action on that. Okay. 14 is to accept a donation to Senior Center from Virginia Richards in the amount of $1,000 and a donation for $100 from Butch and Jackie Hansel in memory of Gladys Underwood. Do we have a motion to
I'll make
accept
a
those?
motion to accept those donations.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Item number 15. Each year, we contribute $2,000 to the Soil and Water Conservation District number 424. And whatever we contribute, then the state will match that for their program.
Make a motion to do that again.
I second.
What have we done in the past?
That's what we've done every year
Okay.
forever. Is to enter into a contract for services to provide $2,000 for them and them to provide the services that they do. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, none, motion carried. Item number 16 is to consider the appointment or reappointment of the Health Authority. And our current Health Authority is
Berger.
Dr. Berger, I want to say without, it's not, Dr. Berger. And he has agreed to continue.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 17, emergency management vehicle. We've been discussing this for a little while.
On Platinum or King Ranch be okay?
Either one.
Well, my house 170 looked like it's doing pretty good than one he was in the other day.
Oh. I can't speak to that.
Well, I think we need to get another vehicle for our emergency management coordinator, without a doubt.
We
The
spend
truck that's in the shop is,
maintenance.
yes, and the quotes that he got to repair the truck, and then there's still not a definite amount.
Well, and this one, from this automotive was $3,378. We've already spent several times a fair amount on it, so, and it's not gonna get better, you guys. 2005. All right. Do we want to buy that out of the ARPA money? Or do we want to?
We have 179.5.
Now, if we're buying a used vehicle,
That's a different,
that's a difference.
yeah. Is it used, I mean, is there a used one? Are we looking at a used one?
Oh, I'm just talking about process right now.
Okay.
If we were gonna buy, but nobody said new or used. If it was gonna be used, it could not come from ARPA funds. So, a new one would cost a whole lot more, but it could be.
We could do that. We could purchase it off the buy board.
Or we
You
could
could
find a
pick
nice
one
used
out.
one. And we don't have to go out for bids or quotes if it's used.
If it's
If it's less than
below.
50,000.
Mhm. Yes, it does not have to be for the commissioner's court. One telephone or written quote on a used commodity from $5,000 to $49,999.
What about your little cartel, buddy? You pick up.
See what he got.
Yeah.
What it- You sure got a good deal on
Oh,
that?
yeah, I was gonna say that saved about 35,000,
That sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll check, see what he's got.
It was a
Where'd you end up getting?
$75,000 truck for 40. I've got the number on my phone.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion for anything on this?
A motion to purchase,
Yeah.
well, because you'd probably have to make a deal right then if he's got it, wouldn't you?
Well, it'd be probably best.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion that we, find and negotiate and buy something less than $49,999 for the emergency management vehicle.
is that a motion?
Make that motion.
Do we have a
Second.
second? All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 18 is to take action for a sound system for the district courtroom. Is he in here? Brian is not here, so let's come back with that, Brian.
Just sitting right
Oh,
there.
right,
Okay, you go ahead, we're fine. We talked earlier, Judge, and I know Clyde, there was, and probably all the commissioners, I think there was a proceeding up in district court where it's difficult to hear. That's pretty par for the course. I think you've run into that with older courtrooms, not to go into the historical commission, but we had potential ways of solving that. I don't think that were allowed by Austin, but again, that's a story for another day. Just to get up and explain what we did before, we spoke to a gentleman, we got his name from the historical commission. He came in, looked at the courtroom, I'm sure would have done a fantastic job to make sound in there, pretty audible, but I know it was definitely 6 figures, you know, I mean, that's the price that we were looking at the time. I don't know if we discussed it with the Commissioner's Court, I can't remember, but my investigator at the time, Robert Ryan, kind of made the stopgap that's in there right now, just with the speakers that we saw for the jury. We kind of made that work with the jury sitting in the box and for my purposes of presenting in court. But again, it sounds like, and I definitely agree that there's a larger problem with hearing in the courtroom in general. Talked to Dane, I know that there's been some looking at some options from him. Again, I'm out of my scope with what to do to fix it, other than that's kind of what was been done before.
And I don't remember the exact figure, but it was somewhere around the 300,000.
Oh, yeah.
$300,000 for a sound system. We spent probably $750,000 on that building, on that room when we first did it.
It was about 500,000.
I believe it was when you do the architect study that we did, I think, and I'll get the figures next week and bring it. I think when you do the architect figures, when you do the 500,000 that we did, and then you do the additional costs that we did not know we were going to incur, I think it was more close to 30 to the other figure. But I can get that next week and be glad to bring it to court. But the problem is, there's no reason that we don't have a sound system up there that you can hear. I mean, there's people standing up there, I don't know if you were there last week or whenever they had a trial up there, there's people standing around the rail, leaning over, trying to hear what's going on. And it was some of us. And there's no reason that we spend that much money on that room and we can't have a sound system where you can hear. We're passing a microphone around that comes unplugged.
I agree.
I agree as well, and I think that money solves all problems. So, you know, I mean, like, yeah, we can probably get the problem fixed. Just want to make sure everybody understands it's going to cost money, right? That's y'all's purview, and whether you decide whether that's worth it or not. But absolutely, let's get this problem solved, because I'm up there every week, and it is a problem hearing. So yeah, hey, I hear you, but just fair warning, that's what you're getting.
From what I've initially looked at between sound, because we have a visual aid in the courtroom as well that is needed. So I was working on the visual aid, and you brought up the sound, and I started saying, okay, well, we need to look at both of these items. I'm gonna say I feel very safe that it'll come in. We'll be under 75, probably closer to 50 all in. It's based on the quotes I have, and it's basically because of the issue with the historic building, be able to put things on the walls and such. This is, I've shared it with Brian, it's a self-contained unit. It's got a Bose speaker system that should fill the whole room. We'll have to do some study on that, but we'll ensure it fills the room with sound. And then there'll be monitors at the judge's desk, at the witness stand, and then there'll be, one of the things I got to work through is a monitor for the jury box, but it's just an item we got to work through. But it can be done. I believe for under the 75 mark, probably closer to the 50. I just don't, the hard numbers yet.
Sounds good to me.
And it would be mobile, the unit would probably be mobile where you could bring it down to the other courtroom if needed, okay? This unit could be portable if needed, anywhere else in the building. And it would be, it also would have a control panel for the judge when he's pleading a case. If he enters in some documents for evidence, the judge can pre-screen it on his monitor only. If he allows it, then he just pushes a button and it's in the back of him. He can carry on. So.
Be a good solution. I mean, again, we'll see how much it costs, but I agree that the problem exists, and hopefully we can find something that kind of meets pricey, but maybe not just astronomical, where we can live with it. Potentially.
And maybe some sound, what about some sound barriers back there where you can hear the cars in the street better than you hear the people down there talking?
I think that's,
is there something we can do back there? I mean,
we're looking at some of that, and part of the issue there is a couple of things. One is the way that ceiling slopes down like that. We feel the acoustics is pushing that sound through that underneath the balcony. The other thing is that the courthouse, when it was at some point in time, there was remodel done, and they replaced all the windows on the east side and the west side of the courthouse, and you can see in this room, those are new windows there.
Well, we're
These are the
going
old.
historical, if we get the grant, those are all gonna be replaced.
Okay.
And we also had called the architect to see if he could put in the grant to get a sound system and to something else that we were gonna have put in there. Do you remember what? Anyway, the sound, to see if we could add the sound system in that historical restoration.
what time frame are we looking at getting that done?
Well, it
In the
would
next
be
year, the next 5 years, next 10 years?
probably.
I mean,
Then
we need a
next
sound
year.
system now, I mean,
I'm not
we sat
saying
here-
not to
we
do
sat
it, I'm
here-
just telling you information.
how long has that room been renovated? 5 years?
Pretty early on, I would say 2018.
Also, anything that.
So we went since 19 to 23 and have actually done nothing
Past
so
the
far.
historical commission.
Well, I think that, the camera's on, right, so I'm not gonna get on a rant too much, but I think, if you want my opinion, I think the historical commission tries to treat courtrooms like a museum instead of a working courtroom, right? And they put barriers to actually, people like me and you that go up and actually wanna use the courtroom for work, they want people to come in and see it. And I think that that's the problem, is there's kind of a divide there on what's best for sound quality and what's best for all the historical aspect of it. I think we ran into that. And we don't have a choice, right? And the courtroom is the courtroom. And so I think that's what we ran into with the windows and things of that nature that we couldn't do at the very beginning because of the parameters that the historical commission puts on you. I'm speaking kind of out of turn because I don't really deal personally with the historical commission. I just heard of those problems kind of existing. But again, I'm glad that we're talking about the problem and potentially.
So I don't understand how we can put windows in some places and we can't put them in others.
It's, well, you look at Anderson County, they have the historical courtroom right in the middle, and they can't do certain things with that courtroom. Well, they built a whole new courtroom on the side of their courthouse, because their courthouse is larger, and since that was the old district clerk's office, they can do whatever they want to in there. The historical commission doesn't have a say in them renovating, so they put carpet, they put screens on the walls. I mean, it's a great courtroom, but the only reason they could do that is because it was in a spot that wasn't deemed historically relevant the way that the old courtroom was. Again, I don't know those parameters, I just kind of tell you what I've seen out there in other courtrooms.
Yeah, and I know.
Are we gonna proceed with trying to get the information and the cost and what all
Yes,
that?
just the God's directive. I've got some information together. I didn't realize that this was going to be a topic,
Oh, that's
so, which
fine.
is fine. I'm glad he put it forward, but I'll start collecting data. I did look at some of the historical program, and in the writings, it indicates that I think it's up to 10 or 15% of the total budget approved can be allocated to sound systems. There can be some things done possibly, because they talk about it a little bit in there on the acoustics. We might be able to put some acoustic panels up on top of the ceiling to absorb some of that road noise coming off. But yes,
So you'll bring that back to us then,
yes, ma'am.
as to the amount and whatever, but that
Yes.
sounds good.
And another thing about it, whenever we start this new renovation, we start redoing this courthouse, when we get that, then it's gonna have to go back to the original whatever, and any offices that we put in, anything we've done, will have to be taken out. If I understand it the way they did it in Bear County.
Yep.
So they have to go back, and so if you built an office or built a whatever, you have to go back to what the original way it was done when you first had it done. So if, that causes problems with the air conditioning, with bathroom, different things like that. So if they're doing that up there, and we renovate it, whatever we do, then you're looking at a whole new deal.
One of the initial proposals I'll submit to you guys will give me, and I've run it through Brian and a couple of other judges. I've been talking to the other group upstairs. But this is basically almost like a self-contained, it'll be very limited intrusion on any of the property as far as the walls or anything of that nature.
Sounds good. Let's go to item number 19, an amendment to the Winchester agreement. Dan, you want to talk to us about that?
Yes, this is the proposal, I believe you've been given. It's for the fiber service to be brought into the new dispatch facility. It came in, looks like to be $1,121 a month. They will provide some, a router and as part of the service agreement in this. It's a little bit different than what you would typically see on unlike a broadband service, is a dedicated fiber. The target date, if we get it executed and agree to it, we should have it, we're shooting for the end of December. I would safely say by the mid of January we have installed. I think it's pretty close. I don't think it's a real time consuming time once we get it executed.
Any questions?
This is just for the dispatch building, right?
Yes. And that's just and working with Windstream, because we're trying to coordinate with Hot Cog, and I spoke with Hot Cog. They kind of got their own way of having to do things through AT&T and such, so I'm not sure exactly what their calendar schedule is. I'm wanting AT&T to get in there to get their work done, because they're gonna have to put in a board and some communications for the Hot Cog side, and then we can set our server. But
This is just the dispatch in?
this is just for the dispatch building, for the counties. The counties feed into dispatch building, which will run the CAD server.
So run everything in dispatch, but there'll be additional fibers for other parts of the building as well, right?
Oh, yeah, and we'll feed off of that through switches and stuff. This is just the main feed, and then split it out through the building. But Hot Cog will take care of it. Yeah, this is gonna divide into multiple lines. It's just, this is the main feed in.
This is one of the key things that could have held us up. And so having this and being able to sign off on this and get that work order established can keep us.
That's correct. They
on
can't
our
get us,
goals, so.
they can't get us on the calendar for a firm scheduled date until this. I think that we'll be able to once we get it executed and we submit it to them, then they'll put us on a hard schedule and try to expedite.
I'll make a motion before you enter into that agreement.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None, motion carries. Item number 20 is an agreement between Freestone County and Limestone County for medical services provided to Freestone County inmates.
They didn't go up on us, did they?
Now, this is just for medical services, and let me just read this to you. Limestone Medical Center will provide inpatient and outpatient medical services for Freestone County inmates. Limestone County has an agreement with Limestone Medical for their inmates. But we have to have a separate one for Limestone County to do the Freestone County inmates. So that's what this is for. Isn't that right, Cheryl?
Yes, ma'am.
And Freestone County will pay according to the indigent rates set forth in the IHS, and invoices will be paid within 45 days. And that's Indigent Health Services, IHS, in accordance with that, so that covers that. And then they just bill whatever the services are, and then you pay according to the IHS.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Number 21, resolution for Freestone County Courthouse preservation and restoration. Do you have a copy of that letter? This is part of the grant that we are seeking. That's number
Do you have a copy of it?
number
don't have a
21. You don't have a copy
I
of
don't
it?
have a copy.
Beth, would you make a copy to give to everyone so they can read that? Sorry about that.
No, don't have it.
We'll come back to that. Let's go to number 22, which is to accept the regional sexual assault response team's biennial report.
I could have kept that in the reports section. There's not, I mean, there's a lot to it, but there's not much to it. I really feel like for the commissioners to review what it is. The last, they put it in the legislature that for us to start meeting as a sexual response team, and the Hot Cock put together a group with those counties. Essentially what we made are protocols and things that can help DA's offices, law enforcement, look at sexual assault cases correctly from the outset, investigate them correctly, and have the resources to investigate them correctly. So on that team, there's SANE nurses in Waco that are going to do certain aspects of investigations and things of that nature. So again, it kind of has all of our protocols in there. It's quite lengthy, along with the members on the team. So we just need to have that accepted by the county in all various counties. Does that answer all the questions? That's kind of broad-based, but that's essentially what we've been doing as that team. And those are, just to be clear, those are adult sexual assault victims. We already have a group that deals with child victims of sexual assault.
Well, I'm relying on you to know what all is in here, since I know you have worked on this.
Yes, ma'am.
And so do we have a motion to accept this?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Item number 23 is to discuss or consider awarding bids for the sale of a 2001 Dodge 1-ton single cab flatbed diesel for precinct 3.
I spoke with Don Kent to clarify his messy handwriting, and his bid was $4,005.00.
Okay.
And I make a motion that we accept that bid for that truck.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Motion carried. Now, item number 24 is to discuss the dispatch building and generator. Where are we on that? Are we ready to talk about this?
Oh, I think we are. We got a lot to talk about on the building.
All right, we'll start with the building.
Before I say we do, I know we're gonna meet after this, but I think we should update the court as far as progress has been made in the last 2 weeks.
I agree.
A lot of it was on Dane's report as well. Leonard, you wanna tell us where you're at on because I know Leonard and I talked about Huffman. Last time we voted to approve the purchase of the tower from Huffman, and he had to list it on the by order HGAC for 2 weeks before we could move forward. Is that right?
For the tower?
Mhm.
No, sir. No, that's for the consoles, through Hopcall.
Did he get a quote on tower?
The quote on the tower was 43,000, something.
Put that out.
That was for Huffman's, for the tower, the 100-foot self-sustained tower to go behind the new building.
Okay.
That was, what we would purchase on that. That's separate of the consoles. For the radio system, everything to work over there, they can't put it on the roof, so we had to do a tower. That tower's been ordered. Beth got the PO for me. We got it ordered, and I just hadn't got it.
Hotcom is the one that put out for the.
They put out for the bid on the 2 consoles,
Right.
Zetron consoles, which, they have $102,078.40 that they can spend on the 2 consoles, on the Siri grant we got.
And then we have to pay for the third.
And then we would have to pay out of pocket the additional cost over that 102 also, and doing a third position if we're still. So the new quote they got from Huffman's was for $140,382.
That's all.
That's for 2 of them.
For 2 of them.
For 2 of them. So the
143 for 2 of them. And we get them, the grant is 102?
yes, ma'am.
Okay. So about 40 for the third one.
Well, you need 3, if you just got 2 people working.
We had talked about that just a day or so ago about, are there just 2 that are working right now
Yes,
on each shift?
yes.
And they currently are taking TIG calls also, is that right?
You take everybody's call.
Okay. When we move to the new dispatch building, we need 3 on a shift. If right now we're having 2 on the shift and they're handling
If
all.
I'm not mistaken, Leonard, will know too, we were talking about having, because it's still pretty busy with just 2 people. Me and him have already discussed the amount of traffic going through this office now,
Right.
just taking up Fairfield. So I think if I'm not mistaken, I think we discussed having 2 dispatchers, but also having your supervisor available too during those busy times. Is that right, Leonard?
So we're talking doing 3, because the call volume had went up,
Yes,
during the day and 2 at night,
yes.
which would,
I know you and I had talked about that, but
Yes,
I just
ma'am.
wanted it to come out with, to the.
yes, ma'am. So that would be, the grant is for 2 consoles. It's like 38,000 and some change, over the 102 that, the county would have to pay just for that grant, because it only covers the 102,000. The third position, console, was to get a third position in there for that third dispatcher during the day.
All right, let me be sure we have our money right. For 2 consoles, for 2 of them, it's 143.
Not on the new quote, it's not.
What is it?
You should have the new quote. The new quote for 2 of them is $140,382.00.
And the grant is 102, so we would be paying about 40 there for 2 of them, on the 2.
Yes.
Okay, and then if we get another one, it would be about 30 something?
It would be $33,194.
Okay. So we're talking about 73,000 or so that we would be looking for in the budget. Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead now with the rest of you. Ask one.
Well, for not but $33,000 apiece, how come we're paying $140
That's
apiece?
kind of what I was, what.
Okay, yeah, so I had that same question. So the reason it's going up, to that 140, I've got the quote.
There was a little more stuff within the quote.
Yes, the quote, Beth should have given the quote to y'all, this morning. It's not this one anymore, it's gonna be the Huffman one. But the reason it went up is when they originally quoted us the, grant back in March of last year, it was to put it into the building that dispatch is currently in. So they were gonna reuse all the coax, everything there. But now that we're moving into a new building, they had to re-quote and add in all of the hardware that's needed
Okay,
to completely install a brand new system into the building.
okay.
That's why it's gone up so much more.
Well, I just thought, you know, if you bought them singular, it'd be, two would be 66,000.
Yes, sir. But that's the reason for the increase in price. I did get clarification on that because I was curious on that as well.
About 75,000. Yeah, give it to us.
You give it. So is everyone in agreement that you need the third console?
Yep.
I think we did.
Okay. Just clearing that up. All right, now what other stuff that we're talking about? The tower? We've already got
I think we're done,
we got a purchase order on that.
we've done what we need to. Karen, you got one, or we got an additional generator quote?
Yes. $42,438.32.
42.6, yeah, Catherine.
$42,438.32. This is for a diesel 60 kW generator.
And
I
that is,
had taken a little bit of liberty in your absence. They were sharing that quote with me, and you probably are already aware of it. I made a phone call to them to see the availability because they didn't have it on the quote. They did say that it was immediately available. The switch was about a week out, but that was last week. So just,
okay.
if you didn't know.
I've never contacted.
Okay, well, I didn't know who had talked to him, or I didn't know
I showed
where
him
the
the
quote.
quote.
Yeah.
He showed it, and I was like, yeah, but it's gonna be next year, when's it available? So I picked up the phone, called them. It's on the ground, available for immediate shipment. And the switch was a week behind, which would be this week, next week, so just FYI.
Anything new on y'all's end, Matt?
So since we met, in middle of last month, 2 weeks ago, we had the 100 kW equipment that we had found and had on hold. We went ahead and had them release that. We have been able to find a 60 kW diesel Cummins unit, readily available to ship. And matter of fact, it's actually at one of the distributorships in Houston. And it's kind of gone around the way as far as finding all the matching equipment. So it's we found a Cummins switch that matches our build, matches the generator, matches the build, and the internal annunciators that are all readily available. So with that, total turnkey installation, fueled up, ready for the building to open up for service, was right at $67,000.
That's the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Karen, could I ask, excuse me for asking, is that price you have on that other generator, is that installed or just the generator sitting there on the truck?
That's just the generator delivered.
Okay, that's kind of what
Yeah,
I was
it's not
thinking.
Well,
Amount.
the reason I asked this last week, we had another job, we got a 200 kW, and
the people said, we want you to do the job, but you're several $1,000s higher. And so they gave me the bid, and I looked at it, and I said, well, do you want fuel in it? Well, that's another $2,700. Well, do you want it on a plastic foundation, or do you want it on a concrete foundation with a beam around it to where it doesn't move? You know, and there's several things in there. Taking those features into account, our prices were in line with our competitors. Which you said 42, I knew. That did not include the full build out.
Yeah, that quote, I think it's not, that's an FOB point, I think in Virginia. It's where that unit be shipped from.
It doesn't include a crane to unload it off the truck and then reset it on the foundation as well. There's lots of factors. Ours is turnkey. It's like you go to Dallas and buy a Cadillac from Sewell Village. They give you the keys, you drive out, it's yours. You're through.
On the, when we're talking about this buy board stuff and purchasing new at our $50,000 threshold, would you be able to basically to sell us a generator? It's gonna be easier for us if we take bids for generators and then there's an additional bid for install. Otherwise, we're over that 50,000.
Right, we can break it out, however you guys would like us to. Equipment, installation, however. Ours, typically, we just do almost like or what it is, a lump sum contract. You say, do the job, give us a letter to proceed, and we get the equipment in, and when we walk away, it's 100% done.
But we can't do that with $50,000.
Right.
Correct.
We're just trying to get around.
Yeah.
It's similar to y'all breaking up the contract with Steve and them for the tower. You've got the tower, and then you've got the antennaing and cabling and the stuff inside. It's just, it's how you look at it.
Right.
When you tie it all together, well then, it's way over the 50.
But to compare apples to apples,
Yeah.
it would just be so much cleaner, especially in
Yes.
Karen's office, if our bids were on a 60 kW generator, you know, same package.
Well, this one's coming out of Virginia, if I'm correct, from what Dan just said. So you still have to find somebody here locally to install it, and then at the end of it, certify the unit, which means you have to be certified through whichever manufacturer that is. So you can't just have any Joe Blow come through and do it.
What kind of unit is that?
Yeah.
Is there, and this might be not a very question, but is there a transformer required to transform that power from the generator into the building?
No.
Okay. That's not.
Where we put generators down here where you have 480 volt systems, you normally have a 480 277 transformer to run block heaters. And
that's fine, I just keep it just.
But not on this.
Yeah, so the one that we're specking out, so that's a 122 volt single phase, 200 amp service. We're basically ordering the generator to match that.
To spec it out.
Where there's no extra components that can fill.
Tell them about our trip to Grove back, Andy.
Very enlightening. They have 4 people on staff in the dispatch when we were there, 4 consoles, and they had 2 vacant consoles that they used for training or as spares. Building was designed for dispatch. The floor is hollow. all the cables and everything are run under the floor. Console tables are electric, up and down, stand up, whatever. I didn't understand, which didn't have a whole lot of input, did a lot of listening. Why they have 6 screens at each console? That just boggles my mind. That you would need 6 things, well, 7.
7.
There's 6, and then a monitor over the side, that you would need all of that.
There's different operating systems going on there. A couple of those screens were for hot cog, 911 type service. Then there was they had, off to the left, the screen was like a CGIS, independent CGIS terminal. And then those middle monitors were basically, one was tracking of the vehicles. And then the 911, another one was when the 911 calls came in. Yeah, I pinged it on the map so they knew where it was at. So they were all, even though it is a lot to look at and absorb, they're operating different systems on each one of those screens.
So these consoles that we're talking about getting from Hot Cog and about another one, are they gonna come with all 6 screens?
Well, you know, I mentioned that to one of the dispatchers. I said, we keep talking about these consoles with Hot Cog. I want to know, what is a console? Is it a desk? Is it these screens? What are y'all defining as a console? Her answer to me was those 2 screens right there, which were 911 and the systems behind it. I said, not the desk or anything, just these systems of what you're calling a console. And that's what you indicated. Not sure if you may have a thought on that, but does that make sense?
Yes.
So they weren't even indicating, because we're kind of assuming the consoles are the desk and the monitors and this whole setup. What I was told was these 2 screens are what we're considering the console. That's what we're trying to buy. I mean, whoever's looking at those, I'm not sure, but that was just what I was told during our visit. So I think it's time for a phone call to Hot Cog now that we've been in there and get clarification. Listen, this is what this is what I was told. You guys were looking at some other stuff, but get clarification. What are you guys considering from a budgetary standpoint as a console?
And I think after looking at their project, that they were set on those IBEX desks and stuff like that, I think if Hot Cog is gonna pay for 2 of those, we need to take them up on that. When we put the 3rd console, if we do the same exact type of desk and spend that money or not.
Do you get the desk with it? Do you get the setup?
It's not part of the console.
That's where that's the
That's where they said they would pay, what was it, $10,000 per
Yes.
desk.
Yeah, okay.
But from what we were just discussing at the beginning, we will have 3 on the day shifts all the time, so we'll need that 3rd setup. Isn't that correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We did measure the room and we feel like it'll fit after measuring over there and measuring down
Over
here.
here. Yeah.
But all our wiring's going to have to come from the ceiling. Yeah.
How many consoles they have over there?
It's 6 in that room.
If we was to get in a major emergency crisis, would those three things be able to take care of everything we have going on?
Our 3 consoles?
Yes, sir.
So the consoles itself only operates the radio system, is all it operates. It doesn't operate your 911 system or anything else. If we go over there and look at dispatch now, the consoles over there that they have, it's 1 screen, and it's a big block basically underneath that's got some buttons on it. That's the console. Going to the new system, it's going to still be the 1 screen, and it's going to be a newer, updated version. It's not going to have that big system underneath it. It's going to set, like y'all seen the 6 screens over there. It's going to be mounted on there. The modem, everything's going to be hid into the desk or something like that. but that only operates your radio channels to communicate with your fire, EMS, and police out in the field. That's all that console does.
So those other screens that we saw there are gonna be an additional cost for each, the setup of each station.
Which they can, some of the screens they have over there could probably go over here to help. But the CGIS one, like you were saying, it's its own independent system, so it has its own stuff. It'll be its own computer. The 911 system has two screens. One screen's gonna be where you can transfer calls to other agencies within your COG or neighboring to you. And then the other screen's the map. When you answer it, it uploads where that call's coming from. You can pinpoint it, try to get the best location of where that call's coming from.
And do those come from Hot Cog?
Those are already over there. Hot Cog will move them from there and put them over there.
Okay,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we already have those.
Yes, ma'am.
For 2 stations.
So essentially, we'd be looking at 3 additional screens that possibly we have over there that's not tied to CGIS or that console or 911.
So we'll get the information on the desk, and we'll order 3 of them. Is that correct? Everybody on board with that?
Yeah, I get, sure. So, we know what to order.
Just want to be sure. Okay. Well, and we can get information from the people at Hot Cog, because they are the ones that showed us the picture and everything, or we can get it from we've got the name of the company already.
There's a multitude of vendors out there that build these desks, if you would, that we can go out and price. There's some companies out of Dallas that we could, request a quote from. But there's a number of manufacturers. It's not just one
It has to
specific
be just that
manufacturer.
same brand, just so it's.
Right, yeah, there's a multitude.
And.
So I'll work on that a little bit. We'll work together on that.
Okay. And so going back to the generator right quick, we want to receive 2 more bids on generator.
Can we get the bids broke down to where we buy the generator and then have somebody install it?
Yeah, well, that's what we're talking about.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, that's what we probably need to do,
Definitely.
installation. Turnkey.
But we need, I'm asking though, do we need 3 bids? I mean, pretty much we have 2 right now. But we need.
It would be better, yes,
Okay.
yes.
The answer is quotes.
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 Anything
We
else?
probably need to know, so we've got this generator right here. We're gonna need to know how much it's gonna be to install it, like if we,
Sure.
so we need to be kind of looking at that too, getting some quotes for that, so we can keep moving.
I agree.
All right, if there's nothing else on this for right now,
Our quote does include installation, and it does meet your timelines of January the 17th
okay, good.
for whatever you need.
So we will need to know how much that additional is for installation, so we can be looking at the same thing. All right, let's go to item number 25, which is to discuss purchase of laptops and mounts for the sheriff's vehicles. I think we're not quite ready to talk about that, is that
That is
correct?
correct.
So we are gonna table that to the next.
I would like to give you some information, but but this is just inside information. Basically, just so y'all got an idea of where that's at.
I have a motion to table number 24.
Make that motion. Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. All right. Now let's go back to
go back to,
Courthouse reservation.
Can we just do the outside, not the
12,
inside?
we got 12 too.
We got number 12, let's do number 12, and then we'll go back to the left.
Okay, TIG, all they had was 298 to put towards Smith.
Okay.
And do, and that's 255, more than likely more to grade.
That's all they got.
That's all I got.
Tell me again about the first one you said. Is that
They
T?
did 834 to Levy and then 298 to Smith. I'm almost thinking we need to put all of our extra to Smith.
Go 422.
And then, I don't know, maybe the hospital, I don't know, they don't have any.
Okay, so we're gonna put 834. 834 on
See it?
fire, and
442. Understand? What'd you say? He had 298?
Yeah.
this one.
I think all we can do is what all we can do is give him more to balance.
What's the top number, 12 what?
1276.
76, okay. 6, 7, if we put 834 on Sid and 442 on Steve.
Yeah.
Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, and then we will go back to the. Number 21, you'll read that resolution and see if you want to make some changes, or if you even want to approve it.
Can we just do the outside, Judge?
Sir?
Can we just do the outside of the courthouse and not the inside? Outside is bad.
We can.
If we sign this resolution, is that binding us to be in a contract with doing it?
It just says, this resolution just says we're willing to enter into a grant easement, so I mean, that wouldn't bind us, so. Shouldn't. We still have to get that agreement. I mean,
And I hate to enter into an agreement until we know what it's gonna cost.
right, I agree.
Well, if we were awarded it, we could turn it down.
Well, it's not like we're gonna have it tomorrow.
No.
It takes several years to get one.
Well, they should award probably in the summer, next year in the summer.
Really?
Mhm.
And just because they award us this bid, they'll allocate the money, that doesn't mean that that's what it's gonna actually cost. It may cost a whole lot more than what they give us.
It's, yeah, we don't know till they know what they give us and what that's gonna cover. Is that correct?
Well, not bad. signed it, yeah, we'll sign it. Did not find any agreement.
It
Where's
says,
C?
With your legal counsel.
does hereby support efforts to secure funding for the repair and preservation. Says the Freestone County Commissioners Court, as the owner, does hereby support efforts to secure funding under the Texas Historical Program for repair and preservation of the courthouse.
Kind of like a letter of intent. I said it's kind of like a letter of intent.
You get a second opinion from Ryan?
Yes. Judge Grant's my legal counsel, so I guess I can look at it, pass it back to her. I would think that that would be the case, that she would just decline it, ends up getting out where it's money you don't want to spend.
Yeah, till we know how much and what it's for.
I was gonna say one other thing, since I got on a restoration kick earlier, is, while we talked about the deficiency with the sound in the courtroom, I'm very thankful that courtroom is redone. It makes it 1,000 times more functional for myself. So just to kind of round out that opinion, obviously there's still some deficiencies there, but I can't imagine practicing in that courtroom with the wall the way that it was. So just to, I feel better about sitting down with that entire piece now that I've realized there's another restoration piece to what y'all are talking about today. So just, again, that's Brian Evans' opinion, but I'm very thankful that it is redone.
Ryan, is it your professional opinion that it would be an elder of the court that ought to make a motion on this?
Yeah. I see the way that works most of the time, so yes, I would think that that would be the way that it happens.
Thank you, sir.
We're gonna be here a long time.
Joe, I'll get your driver's license out with your birthday.
Well, we know who's elder on the court.
I know.
It goes,
I'll make a motion, we sign that.
You're one of the elders, in my opinion. I said elders.
I still want to be, I don't want to be binding to something that we're not gonna be able to.
Don't sign it.
So you think we're not, if we sign this thing, Brian, we're not, in your professional opinion?
I think that if you want me to make that type of call, I would ask for more time to look at it. I would agree with generally what's being said, but I definitely am not gonna take a minute to look at it and kind of get us in a. I would agree with everything that's said. I can't imagine it would be any different than what I just said, but if you're asking for a true blue opinion on this, I feel uncomfortable looking at it for a minute and coming back around, but
would you like for us to table it to the next meeting?
if you are asking, if you're basing your opinion on me giving you a legal opinion on what's binding and what's not, I'm not gonna give you that opinion standing up here right now. So if you're waiting on that, yes, if you feel comfortable with my shoot from the hip,
Yes.
which, then, no.
I don't see any contractual person, it's just, I'm not an attorney.
I don't either, again, shoot from the hip, but I don't either.
I would say my motion to we take it, if we're gonna take it.
I'll make a motion, we table it till next time.
I say.
All in favor, aye. All right, motion carried. Comments on Commissioner's Court bills?
Judge, back on the bonds, road bonds. This is from Hill. They're asking for one bond of $1,407,000. to cover all the roads. They're asking us to do some stuff here, these three things. It says they, traditionally, the selling company provides the bonds so that we can duplicate them. They have not been able to respond to this request to date. 27 of the 33 roads in Freestone County, I would like to ask for the following. A bond form, the county approves the road. Please ask commissioners if it's possible to provide one bond for the total amount of $1,407 and list all the roads in this attachment. If not, could you please provide the current bond via email? Somebody would have to go look up.
I said, that's it, see, that's what
Where was it over
that was us, we're not.
You remember that?
I do remember.
That was a different deal. If you would accept a new bond, if those were, if they would send us a new bond and you would accept that, then we would look up we can look up the information, give them what we have. We may not have everything that they want, but if we're not gonna accept it, there's no need for us to look it up and get ready to send it to them. So, if they will provide a new bond that's sufficient, then will we release those roads?
Do we have a form? Does the county have a form? Bond form?
We could make one. We could make we just have to vote in court to release whatever bond numbers that we have, and we'll tell them that's what we have, and if they have something else, they can give it to us, and if not, well then, we'll just release what we have, what we see.
Is there anything?
But if you're not gonna accept it, there's no need for us to go forward and try to fund all of that. Or the clerk's office have to go forward and try to find it.
That's a good reason on that. A lot of us probably stood up way they ain't done it.
And we may look at it, and if that, do they have bonds on other roads? The
All
ones-
those right there. Well, they're all different bond numbers, so they put their bond number, there are no dates. And y'all's is in order by date, isn't it?
Yeah, but they,
We just have
It'd
to
be nice
search
to have
it.
dates on those bond numbers.
We just have to search it and try to get that information.
What's the benefit to this oil and gas company to have one bond for 1.4 million rather than individual bonds on those roads?
I guess just simpler.
you do it, man.
I would think it's simpler, I mean.
Having to keep up with
having to keep
renewing them
up
all the
with-
time.
Yeah,
But if we had to make a call on the bond, is it gonna be less simple on us because 1.4 million bond is saved over one road for whatever reason?
if they do one bond and list all those roads, then it would be better.
Be easier.
Wouldn't it? Because then we would have, it would be more money
For each road.
for each road, I mean,
If
depending
one
on what
was
happens
messed
in the
up, you
road.
could look at the whole amount.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way I look at it, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I feel. You'd be better protected.
I just think, if they're asking for it one way, don't mean it's the best way for us.
Yeah.
Normally it doesn't, you're right.
I think they're trying to simplify it, because they changed hands and they're, I mean, those bonds, educate me, are they assignable? I mean, because since they sold,
Usually not.
I would think that we're gonna have to change something anyway.
It may be assignable until they run out. That
Until-
one may be
Gotcha,
assignable, but then
gotcha.
they may have to get a new one.
Gotcha.
But I'd have to read that to be sure.
Yeah.
So, do you want us to proceed and get off that information so we can approve that in court?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. All right. We will do that. Any,
Worked has 237 votes. Worked School District has 237 votes.
And they haven't voted yet.
Sorry.
We haven't voted yet.
I think y'all may have done something back in September,
We did the nomination.
and so y'all were gonna do,
It's probably on our next board meeting to do
y'all gonna talk about it I mean, y'all have a meeting before 15?
Yeah, I have to come in about 15.
Sure it is. It'd be nice if we could,
Y'all talked about it?
extend a few more votes. Usually,
Yeah.
if it knock him out, would be nice if we could get enough to knock to punch him out.
Yeah, because he
You
was.
said y'all have a meeting till the
He probably
18th.
needs, would you add him up?
740, he would need
Need 100.
Well,
Yeah, 100 votes.
Basically.
about 100 votes.
I mean, man, I don't know what they're gonna do, I mean, I can't speak for them, but Billy's on the school board.
Yes, the one they're talking about that has a lot of experience is gonna need about 140 votes. Is that?
100.
100 votes, 100 votes, yes, I'm going to 100 votes. So that would be some good information for you to know. If, you know. talk about it.
Consider.
Consider, yeah.
We're not telling you how to do it, we just.
And there are other people that would be voting too, but anyway.
Exactly.
We were. Okay, any comments from any commissioner? None?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor, aye. Thank you.